Hi everybody. So I wanted to create a video to kind of preview this week's assignment and give you some tips and like things I've seen in the past. Some people are really a visual learner, and so you like to hear it as if it were a lecture. I'm going to try to minimize the length of time for each video at the beginning of the week, and then at the end of the week I'll be providing another video with it'll be a critique with feedback for each of you. And most people just, some people really want to hear what everybody's critique is. And others, find that they like to just fast forward to their own. It's always exciting to hear your personal feedback. I know it always was for me with my professors. Okay, so let me just put myself out of the way here. We are into Unit 2. So this is our photo walk. If you click on our Unit 2 assignments, then you have some articles here that you're going to read and some information. And I will just walk you right through that. I think I already had it open. Yep, I did. Okay, so the first article is, it's like 25 tips. Hold on one second. So I was just reviewing the article because it's a really good one, and that's why I chose these. So you're just going to go down through and look at each of the guidelines. And the rule of thirds is, classic. It's pretty much the one. So when you are creating an artwork, in photography, we're deciding what's going to go inside the frame, okay? So when you look in your viewfinder or on your LCD screen or, on your phone, you're going to be thinking about the composition. So even if you're painting or drawing or doing any other type of artwork, you're always thinking about the composition and what you want it to look like all together. So in photography, it's filling the frame. So rule of thirds is actually something that you can set on your camera, most cameras, even on your cell phone. So look in your settings to see if you can apply the rule of thirds. And it just looks like a tic-tac-toe board. And basically you're going to make sure that the most exciting parts of the photo land on one of the intersections or on one of the lines. So that's classic, and that's something that I do all the time. And then you've got all of these other kinds of interesting ideas. This one is center your subject. However, I've got to say about center your subject, you can see how the background makes this portrait so much more interesting than just centering the subject. So I have to point that out. So normally I would say don't center your subject, but that's just my thoughts. So as you're scrolling down through these ideas, look for things that seem interesting to you and jot them down, and then make a little note about, what does that compositional guideline, what does that mean exactly? So framing is, another one that I use all the time, and I always remember this photo by Gordon Parks for fashion photography and how that framed, the model so well. So you can also take that idea and research it online, framing and photography. So, and you'll get a ton of examples, and you'll start to think of things, think of ways that you can do things. Okay, so you guys are going to scroll down through all of these, take a few notes, and then once you've completed all 3 articles, so you'll see some that have, well, this is the same thing as that article. So they're not in addition, they're just another See, here we have rule of thirds again, and another style where this one uses an intersection. And, you know, gorgeous. So I'm going to need to see how you're going to use this example to create your own photography. And then here's the third article. So make sure you're looking through all of them and writing down, you know, what is my favorite? What do I find to be the most interesting? And jot those down. Sometimes I'll use like notes on my phone and, you know, just put examples in on my phone, and so I have it with me all the time. Sometimes, I mean, I used to just like jot things down on a little piece of paper and keep that in my pocket. So however you like to do things, you know, whatever is your style. And then once you get out on your photo walk, you're going to want to take lots of pictures. And so that when you get back home and you're reviewing your images, you have more than one example of, say, rule of thirds, or you know, centering your subject, or simplicity, things like that, leading lines. So these are things that you'll see when you're reading the articles. And then once you get back to view your photos at the end of your shoot, look at each one. Look at each one. Decide, what do you think is your best example of each, you know, say rule of thirds, or, you know, other compositional guidelines in the articles. And then you're going to choose, you know, say 3 or 4 of each compositional rule. And then you're going to change the file name. And here's another trick that I always think of. Okay, so sometimes you like to go look back at your original files and see, you know, what was I shooting at that time? What were the other images that I was shooting? And leaving the file name that your camera has created, you know, it's usually a few letters and a number, and then titling it after that. So if you just double click on the title, then you can just type in whatever you want the name to be. And I would like you to know for sure, what compositional guideline did I choose for this image? And you can type that in, or you can add it within your notes. Okay, so I mean, that's a really important tip. Okay, let's see, other things I want to show you for this week. Whenever you start beginning to use your camera, so notice that in this week's coursework, so you find that by going to coursework and then, you know, click on unit 2, that's the unit that we're in this week. You've got notes, and then you've got some additional help videos. This video that I'm making right now will appear within those help videos. What was I getting to? Oh, so when you start wanting to set the functions on your camera, if you're using a camera, or if you're using your cell phone, you are going to want to get an app that you can create RAW files. So my recommendation for iPhone is the ProCam 8. And if you go to your apps, your app store on your phone, and select ProCam 8, here's what you'll see basically. And it teaches you about it a little bit too, so you're going to want to review that. And then I believe it is still $7.99. So it's a one-time purchase, but it will save you many, many, many times over with, you know, editing and composition. So that's a wonderful app. If you're using an Android, then I've saved this article for you, and with my recommendations. So the #1 app for Android is Adobe Lightroom, and notice you can get it for free, or, you know, you can go whole hog and get get all the features, but that isn't really necessary. So free is always good to begin. And it has a camera function within the app. and it also has editing. So it's wonderful to learn because it's part of our Adobe software. And I mean, there's a few others down here that are not too bad. I would read over it and make sure it's not just filters and things like stickers. I mean, we are not going to use anything like that. That's for your social media. Okay, and so I believe I made recommendations here. Let's go back. Should have made that open in a new window, but oh well. Okay, back to coursework and Unit 2, which is where we are at this week. So let me just see. I think I put recommendations. Okay, so my recommendation is Lightroom. It has the best editing features. And keep in mind that whatever editing or camera program you choose for your phone, we are not using filters for this class. We're going to do straight photography, but we will get to be learning a lot of different types of editing. So don't worry about that. And to get back to what I was saying, making use of your manual settings. So there's two kind of versions of the word manual in photography. One is settings on your camera where you can create raw files and you are setting things like your shutter speed and your aperture on your camera manually. There's also your camera manual. So what you need to do if you don't have your original camera manual, you're going to need to find it online. So I just, for each of you, when you tell me the camera that you have, I can type in whatever the name of the camera is and then manual, and then you can find it easily. You can always find the manual for every camera. And then you just click on it, and then here was my camera manual. Okay, really, really good trick with your camera manual. As long as you have it digital or online, you can do Command F, that's in Mac, or Control F in a PC, and you'll find a little search tab. So say I want to set shutter speed, and it shows me wherever that appears in my manual. So I can just go to the next, and find everywhere that term appears in my manual. And you will find things so much faster than trying to scan down through, because camera manuals are really long and complicated and in-depth, and this is just the easiest way to find everything in your manual. If you get an app, you're also going to find information within the app that helps you to learn about it. You can also search the name of the app online and find articles that give you information about how to do this and how to do that, especially with Adobe products and Lightroom. Okay, so let's see if there's anything else I wanted to mention. Yes. Okay, so when everybody starts with photography, if you don't have a lot of experience, you might just try to do some amateur moves. And what I mean by that is, I've already discussed using filters, but there's also, people tend to tilt their camera or tilt their phone and make this, angle in the horizon, which is the line where the earth meets the sky, or where the ocean meets the sky, or the body of water, whatever. And that is an amateur move. So whenever you're taking pictures and you're working within a frame, try to make the horizon line, if it's a landscape image, match the bottom of the frame or the top of the frame. And you'll see that when you read about rule of thirds, if you want the horizon. Centering it is, not the best option, Going low or going higher is more like using the rule of thirds. So these are just, some tips. I don't like to tell you every answer. I like you to experiment on your own. But my favorite thing is when someone does a photo walk and they tell a story along the way. So think about it. You're not just going to take 10 pictures. You're going to take 10 ideas, and then you're going to choose the best from each one. So don't undershoot yourself. You're going to be referring back to these images. You're going to be editing them in future weeks. So these images are really important. Some of them might be so good that you'll save them for your final portfolio. So definitely read everything, listen to everything, watch everything, and before you go on your shoot, be ready with your notes and the ideas that you feel really strongly about. Okay, I will talk to you all again at the end of this week, and I wish you all luck, and take care.